Hello everybody and welcome back to City Skylines 2, where last episode we just put this dam in, and I can't remember if I was looking at this on camera or off camera, but right after the episode ended, I was definitely looking at the traffic jam that exists here, and I was thinking about how would we want to go about handling this. Well, there's plenty of alternate routes that they can take. They could go, here, they could go here. They don't. They go here. So what do we want to do about that? Well, I was looking at the traffic flow here, and it looks like primarily these guys are trying to go straight. But then there's situations like this, where this driver clearly just doesn't know how roundabouts work. I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, they clearly don't know how roundabouts work. But most of these drivers are attempting to go straight here. So, what do we want to do about it? That's the question that we need to ask here. They're trying to go straight here. They have a similar situation here. It's just, this is flowing kind of okay. It's just that they're not yielding. There's definitely a yield sign here, but these guys are the ones yielding. And then we've got idiots like this that just come to a halt in the middle for absolutely no reason. Okay, so there's definitely some issues going on here, right? No doubt about that. But this is cleaning up, approximately. This goes back to about here, and it's just a slowdown from the roundabout. But it's primarily this roundabout that's the major issue. So, taking a look at this, that's definitely a yield sign there. But let's see what happens if we go into here. Okay, so we can prohibit them from turning left. We can prohibit them from going right or continuing straight. We don't have access to yield. Presumably that's just like lack of stop. Okay. That doesn't actually appear to do anything, presumably because roundabout. Okay. So I had a couple of ideas on how to solve it that involve things like a bypass over this way. I don't know that that's a great idea, and that's not really going to solve the problem. It's not going to look great, for one thing. But it's not really going to ultimately solve the problem either, I don't think. So that would end up being something kind of like this, right? And that would just mean that there's an alternate route over here for people who are trying to go this direction. Maybe that would change the pathfinding a little bit. But overall, the primary thing that that's going to do is it's going to apparently work. Traffic is flowing a lot better now. I feel like it shouldn't work. Okay, this is more like what I expected it to do here. So the primary issue here is that the way that the driver AI is working, right, is actually flawed. So the driver AI here is not behaving the way that roundabouts are supposed to work. The way that roundabouts are supposed to work, if you're unaware, is you yield entering into the roundabout, and then anyone who is already in the roundabout has right of way. So we shouldn't be seeing things like this van coming to a halt to allow this pickup to enter the roundabout. That's the core issue here and why this traffic jam is occurring. So, what do we do about it? That's a bigger question. That is a significantly tougher question, actually. For the time being, I'm going to come up over here and check in on some of these others. I saw potentially other traffic jams. It looks like those have cleared out now. This is a traffic accident here. We do have a certain amount of abandoned structures here, so lack of entertainment and unreliable healthcare coverage. Okay, fair enough. We don't have a lot of healthcare down this way, so we could certainly think about putting in a clinic, perhaps around here. Okay, that'll help. And of course, parks. We don't actually have much for parks around here, right? Now, we're only allowed to build small parks. We know this because they have the Orbitron A in them. That's the only park I'm allowed to ever build anymore. And that's absolutely fine. So we can put in a park here. We can put in a park here. We can definitely put in a park somewhere around here. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe one down over this way. Excellent. And then we can put in one over here. And there's going to need to be more parks over here, of course. So one here, one around here or so, one somewhere around here. Probably here would be good. And then this is commercial up here, so we shouldn't need additional parks there. Over this way, it does look like we need another one. So something along the lines of that, perhaps. So that will hopefully stop things like all of these abandonments happening down here. For the time being, we can get rid of these abandoned structures, and they'll get rebuilt over time. Okay, now then, what do we want to do about this situation? Well, I want to just watch this traffic flow for a moment here.
But let us not tarry. On to the next.
So the primary goal of most of this traffic is to go east or west. Some are coming from north and south,
Road maintenance services have
but the
already been
primary
dispatched,
goal
and
is
traffic flow
definitely
should
to
return
travel
normal.
east or west.
But if
Not
you're
very many
planning
are
a quick trip out,
leaving
you might
north
want
or
to wait a little
southbound.
while until everything clears up.
If you're in it, you already know about it. No use reminding you. Meanwhile, expect delays.
Indeed.
And drive safe. This just
Okay,
in
so
from
that's
traffic.
more like
If
how
you're
we
thinking
expect
about
this to
hitting the
flow.
streets,
When
you
we
can
have
expect
situations like
delays
this,
on
where this
major
minivan is
roads,
just parked
especially
in the
during rush
roundabout,
hour.
I have to assume that's just user error at that
Seems
point.
like everyone is in a hurry to
Like,
get somewhere
or
fast.
something like this.
It's worth slowing
This is
down,
clearly user
but if
error.
you can, plan your
100%.
outside.
That's not a problem with our
Oh,
street
I
design.
don't know.
That
I'd
is
rather wait
user
an hour in
error.
traffic than to have to start thinking about everything all the time. Besides, if I did that, I'd never get anywhere.
But this is definitely cleaning up. So it would appear that we build up a traffic jam here at certain times of the day, but it appears that it does eventually clear out. Because this is definitely clearing up. But this traffic jam was a pretty extensive one. So there are other routes to get to where they want to go. Just this is the most popular one, apparently by far. We may want to think about reworking this intersection. Yeah, we could do that. If this continues to be a significant issue, and in fact, we can see it's now backing up on this side. Okay, we could rework this one. If this is such a big intersection, then, I mean, we can do just that, which on its own won't actually help all that much. But it does kind of fix the problem. But what I really want to do here is I want to take out these sections of highway, and then I want to have a new section of highway that comes through, and this is going to go over top of this section of highway. So something along the lines of this. And then it'll connect in down over here, right? So we would bring that down to be about like that or so. Now, this is not perfect here, but then we would just have a series of on and off ramps right over here. We might have a bit of, actually, that's not all that different there. And that would allow us to clean up this area quite a lot. I don't love the double pillar that we've got going on here, so I want to think about maybe bringing this back a little bit and then continuing to extend this highway to go about here. Now we've got a double pillar here, but I don't know. I guess maybe that's okay. So at this point, now we would need on-off ramps, right? So we would need a ramp that comes in here. Curve tool, please. And goes down something like this, right? So this would need to go not that steep. Yeah, more like this. Okay. So about like that. And then this one would need to come out here and then come up like so. This one would come down here like so. Oh, that slope too steep. I mean, fair enough. Let's see about something like... Oh, that's horrific. The height here is a bit problematic. Okay, let's see about doing something about this height. For the time being, I just want to soften, but this is probably going to be bad. Yeah, that's pretty bad. What I want to do then is I want to simply level it about here. Okay, let's get rid of everything that's currently in this block so that we can work on the terrain height a little bit. Okay, something like that. And then I want to soften this out. Okay, that's kind of horrible. Let's level it at about this height here for now. Actually, at this height. Okay. So something about like this. This is still, you know, a huge carve out. But now we can work with this a little bit more easily. So at this point, I want to put in something like this. And this is definitely a non-standard intersection for us, but this is going to make things a little bit easier in theory. Slope too steep out over this way? I don't know about that. I don't know that it's actually sloped too steep. I think the issue might actually be this over here. So let's get rid of that temporarily, and let's try this. Yeah. And then let's build this guy up over here. Invalid shape due to this. Yeah, okay. Let's get rid of that for the moment and bring this guy up over here. There we go. I don't love the texturing that there is over here, but for now it'll do. And then this guy would come up over here about there. And then this would come in over this direction. Now that's giving slope too steep, but that's because this did not actually come off of the correct point. About like that. Okay, these textures are horrific. However, this should flow traffic better in this high traffic area. Now, we have a question. How do we go from here to here? I mean, we could turn like that in theory, or just go like that. Oh, that's horrific. I think that's substantially worse than what we had before. No, that angling is horrible. I'm not going to do it. Nope, 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 nope. We're out of here. Okay. There we go. At the very least, we got this rezoned a little bit. So I guess that's fine. And then we'd want to bring this back in over here, like so. This guy we'd want to bring down. Actually, I'm thinking about this right now. Yeah, I think that we want to bring this in here first, like that. Then toss the roundabout back in. Then put the highway back in, up over here. So the question is this actually going to solve any problems? I don't think so. We just put back what was there. But we'll see. Once the cars all get reset and repathfined and get figured out where they're going to go, this will be quasi-okay. I wonder if we could, like, stoplight this roundabout. That would kind of defeat the purpose of a roundabout, wouldn't it? But our core issue right now is our high traffic direction, in this case from the south. Our high traffic direction gets held up by small amounts of traffic from over here that do end up having right-of-way. And that's using the roundabout correctly, for the record. So it's just a little bit too high of traffic here. I'm wondering if we could potentially up the number of lanes of this roundabout. So what that would end up looking like would be we would take this back. We would go to, let's see, that's a 5-lane one-way highway. There are no higher 2-lane highways. What does it look like if we do something like this? And this is obviously, you know, very gross, right? But what does it look like if we do something like this? And then we bring the same thing in from here. Obviously, this is all one lane, or one way, right? And that's not really what I want. I'm more trying to figure out how the roundabout would handle this. So what would happen if we would put a roundabout in here? Fair enough. Okay. So that is not great. No doubt about that. So the most number of lanes we can get is 4, 2 in each direction. However, we could go to like an 8-lane divided road, which would be, you know, kind of huge. We could even take it to like a 6-lane road. So that would end up being like out over here, right? So this would go to 6 lanes here, and we would need this to go up a level. So this would just come through approximately here-ish. Yeah, it's giving overlapping items. Let's try building it from this direction. Yeah, the lanes are awkward, no doubt about it, but I'm not trying to get this perfect right now. I just want to see what would end up happening, and this is the wrong angling, but what would end up happening if we roundabouted this? Slope too steep down over here. I'm not shocked that that's going to cause us some issues, but I want to see what the roundabout would look like. So it'd be a 3-lane roundabout. So that would increase our number of lanes there. Okay, I kind of like the concept. So we would be going down to a large road here, but it would just be for this area, right? So we could bulldoze this object here. We would then extend out the road here, but I would like this. Snap it only to existing geometry right now. Okay. I'd like it to come in existing geometry and angle only. Like that. Then we've got this guy here, right? And I'd like to bring that in like that. And then we've got this guy, which that's giving us overlapping items due to the pillar down here, which is fair enough. We can put in the roundabout now, and then this on this side of the roundabout would go down to a 4-lane, 2-way highway. So that would be out over here, right? Slope too steep. I see this is dropping down a little bit. What if we simply took that out, took this out, and then left this up here, connected in the highway directly here? So we get rid of this section of highway, and then we connect this in right here. We're getting some road experimentation going on here. That is kind of bizarre out over here. But we have this internal lane here. I have no idea how the pathfinding is going to utilize this, is the thing. Okay, so we bring that in like that. Pathfinding is going to be potentially weird. What happens if we change that? It goes down to 2-lane. Okay, so we have to leave this at 6-lane here. So this is still fundamentally 2-lane, isn't it? It is. Okay, so we would need to go up to the large roads here and then upgrade this section right here, this section right here, and this section right here. Like that. That does give us a fair amount more throughput in theory. And we'll keep an eye on that and see how that goes. That's definitely some interesting experimentation there. I don't necessarily love the setup, but we can keep an eye on that situation. That's definitely interesting. I mean, we can do that just with the upgrade tool. We don't need to do any rebuilding or anything. So that would definitely be an interesting way to go about it.
Please exercise caution if you must.
Now, this goes down to 2 lanes very quickly, perhaps too quickly. We'll keep an eye on that situation, but overall, traffic does appear to be flowing reasonably well here since we've got the 3 lanes. That does appear to be an improvement.
Sitting in front of a sheet of blank paper, using
Excellent.
only their imaginations as guides.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that and see if that recurs. Now we see a traffic jam up over here. That's just one of these little intersections. What are we trying to do here? Turn?
On to the next
Okay.
And on to our main
So
feature
this
strip.
traffic jam is
The
quite
commercial district is
extensive
booming,
here.
as the area
I'm not
is
sure what we're
attracting
trying to do
more
here
high-end
overall.
stores, bringing the latest in
I think it's
luxury
just a
to our
mixture of just
neighborhood.
trying to go
You can
various
now
places.
shop for designer shoes while sipping a fancy local Jarva mate.
Okay, I'm just
Or so
watching
my
this
wife
car
tells
here.
me. That's good for business.
If they're getting
and
off of the
good for
highway
the
here
community.
just to get onto the highway here and skip this roundabout, I have questions. But that doesn't appear to, in fact, be what they're doing. This did clean up, so that looks reasonably fine for the moment. We see potential traffic issues out over here. That's a traffic accident. That's also a traffic accident. Okay, no problem there. Okay, I don't currently see any traffic issues. So we can definitely keep in mind this solution. I don't necessarily love its appearance, but it's not the worst thing as far as how it looks. And I do suspect that that will significantly clean it up by just adding an additional lane to the roundabout. It definitely means navigating the roundabout is going to be a little bit more complicated. But it appears to be broadly okay. Cool. Let's check on our water situation. So we can see that we are at optimal levels for the dam here. In fact, we've picked up a little bit of water out over here. And in fact, I kind of want to soften this terrain over here. Or I guess level the terrain, really. I want to level you to like this height. Okay. There we go. That'll work. Out over here, we don't really want to have it be leveled to this height. We can soften that out, but that does like to drop it pretty precipitously. So let's just put it at this height for now. Okay, that'll do for the moment. Cool. Checking in on the rest of our water over here. We did definitely... This is mildly awkward over here. We did definitely see this water exit. That is good. And we're flowing through over here. And flowing through here. Flowing through here. We're not hitting significant water issues down here because we built this wall, and that is expected. Oh, I forgot to mention, after the episode yesterday, I went through and made sure that all of this was at the correct height as well, and it should be. So we shouldn't have any major issues there, except for maybe where the sewage dumping is. But, you know, I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure that's completely and totally fine. So we're actually at height for our dam over here, or very close to it. It's going to raise up a little further, but we're going to be pretty much at our current height. So we're probably going to need some levees up over this direction if we want to have the river be at, you know, a quasi-reasonable height. Okay, that's definitely something we could do. We could also use the slope tool to put in a slope. Imagine that. That would be wild. That would absolutely be wild to put in a slope with the slope tool. Craziness. Why are we having abandonment down over here now? We just dealt with this, I feel like. Walking distance to elementary school. I mean, it's not that far. My school was at least that far. That's really not that far. We could put in a new elementary school down here, I guess. So we'd take out like this street, and then we just slap in the elementary school right down over here. Make sure this is zoned up with the row housing. Hang on. Is this not row housing? That looked different. Low density? Low density. Okay. That'll do for now. Sure. Now, we do have pretty big demand for low density housing. That's absolutely shocking. And we have pretty big demand as well for commercial. Which actually is a little shocking. How are we doing up here on our dense commercial? It's pretty developed, actually. Okay. That seems reasonably fine. What are you guys upset about? Why did you abandon your house? They have absolutely no reason to be unhappy. Okay. Literally no reason. Fantastic. We'll just get rid of these. Hi, pause menu. Okay. So we're definitely still looking for employees. I would love it if we'd start to see our high density areas building up here. Small homes, yeah, that's going to be the case with high density. That's high pause menu. That's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine indeed. So our water appears to be pretty under control here. I want to check in on our efficiency. Low water depth. Yeah, this still needs to raise up to, I believe this is supposed to be the water line, or even this. So it definitely still needs to come up in terms of height a little bit. What do we got going on over here? Whoa. That is trippy. Okay. So when we look through this tunnel, this is clearly done through some sort of wacky portal rendering. Because when we look through this tunnel from over here, look at that. We can see the water through the tunnel. But there is no water. Isn't that interesting? Definitely get a little bit of a window into the rendering techniques being used here. I like it. So that's pretty neat. Absolutely. Checking back in on this roundabout here, no problems at all. There might not be any, though. We might have just hit the time of day when we don't have any. So we'll have to keep an eye on this and see if we have other big backups. For the moment, it doesn't look too bad. We can take a look at our traffic mode here. Is this traffic? I don't think this is traffic. I'm sure we have a traffic mode here somewhere. This is just transportation, not specifically traffic. This would be traffic. There we go. So we can see we're actually absolutely fine here now. We definitely have a bit of a slowdown in our roundabouts, but that's what you expect out of a roundabout, right? The things that roundabouts do is they slow down your traffic, yes, but they don't generally, if they're working correctly, bring you to an absolute halt. What do we got going on here? Is this a turn lane issue? I'd like to come out over here and say no left turn. So if we come here, we can go into here, and then we can say no left turn. So this is right turn only here. Cool. Similarly, I want to say no left turn here. Yeah, we can fix that. Phenomenal. Okay, now what do we got going on here? Well, we've got people trying to come up over here and people trying to go down and this way, and that's where the problem comes in. Where are they coming from? Up over here? Sure. So there's a very large amount of people attempting to take this exit. Why this exit in specific? Where are you going? You are going to a store. You are going to a store. A store. A store. A store? A store? Okay. So they're trying to go to the commercial district, it seems, but they're getting off here. That's weird. Why are you doing that? There are exits in the commercial district that you can take, that you are apparently choosing not to. Once they manage to get onto this road, it's going okay. It's getting onto this road that's the problem. Specifically, the left-hand turn here. I mean, that makes sense that the left-hand turn would be a bit of an issue. That makes sense indeed. We currently have... Those are speed limit signs. Gotcha. Well, that does seem to be clearing up again. So we just have these, like, periods, right, where we have a little bit of a backup. And we can definitely work on fixing that. We could potentially bring these highways up in terms of size. I wish there were highways. Like, we can't set the speed, right? These allow for high speeds, and these allow for high speeds. So can we see what the actual speed limit is on highways versus on very large roads? So we know on here it's like 40 kilometers an hour, right? I'm checking the highway to see if we see a speed limit sign. That's a 100 kilometers per hour sign. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to head over here real quick and see what we've got. We may want to upgrade all of our highways up to 6 lane, and that may be a thing. 50? 50. This is half the speed of the highway. Okay. And then when we come over here, we can see it's back up to 100. So we definitely do want the highways as the large thoroughfares. But we may need to upgrade our roundabouts specifically, and exits could be an interesting situation. We'll keep an eye on that, and we'll see about coming up with solutions. Hello, what's going on down here? Ah, our water level has gone above our highway level here. Well, that's awkward. That's very awkward indeed. How do we want to handle that? Well, first things first, I want to take these sections of highway out. And that will solve the problem temporarily. Of course, we have no connection over here now, right? But we can definitely work towards getting a connection here. So I want to use, for now, straight line tool. And I'd like to bring this in over to here-ish. Oh, I don't like these angles. I guess we could bring it in up here, but that is returning as in water. Indeed. And this is just kind of full now. So that could be problematic. Of course, it's raining, so we're having some storm damage over here too. So we've got a bit of a storm surge happening here, but we need to figure out what we want to do about this highway. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we'll figure something out for this, I'm sure. And I'd also like to get this area dried out. That would be nice. It's slightly damp now. Slightly damp. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time. How are we going to drain this? We might just have to elevate this area. I don't know.